You say you want power. You dream of wealth, of respect, of influence. But let me ask you something that will tear your ego apart. What have you earned the right to want? Ambition without action is the biggest scam you've sold yourself. You fantasize about greatness like it's owed to you, but behind closed doors, you're just a spectator in your own damn life. Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." But you haven't even earned your name yet. You wait, you scroll, you plan, you talk, but you don't move, you don't strike. And the world, it doesn't wait for dreamers, it crushes them. This isn't a motivational speech, this is a wake-up call from the dark side of truth. From the place inside you that's been screaming while you numb it with distractions. Because the crown you want, it's guarded by monsters, and right now you're too soft to fight for it. This is not about hustle culture. This is war. A war with your passivity, a war with your inner coward. And until that part of you dies, you will never be untouchable. If that shook something in your gut, good. Now listen closely, because I'm about to hand you the psychological arsenal Machiavelli himself would have used if he were alive in the age of weak men and wasted time. This is Psygorithm, and this is where the predators are born. Let's begin. The lie you keep repeating to yourself. You keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, that some spark will come, that one day you'll finally feel ready. But understand this, readiness is a myth created by the lazy to comfort their paralysis. You're not waiting for inspiration, you're avoiding discomfort. You've built a throne in your own delusion, and you're worshipping the idea of your future self, while your current self drowns in inaction. Machiavelli didn't believe in potential. He believed in force. He believed in control, and he would spit on the fantasy of the modern dreamer who sits idle, thinking ambition is enough. You want the world to respect you, but the world is Machiavellian. It only respects what it fears or what it needs. Right now, it doesn't fear you, and it doesn't need you, because you've done nothing. Think about that. Your name means nothing. Your presence is optional. You think you're a king, but you haven't even spilled blood in your own inner war. While you're daydreaming, someone hungrier, colder, more focused is building an empire in silence, and by the time you finally start, their foot will be on your neck. Harsh? Good. Because reality doesn't play by the rules of kindness. It respects leverage. It respects results. It rewards brutality masked behind precision. You think you're ambitious, but that ambition is a lie without motion. Every second you delay, you strengthen your weakness. Every excuse you give oxygen to becomes a weapon used against you. I just need more time. No, what you need is less comfort, less self-pity, more war, inside, right now. If you want to matter, stop fantasizing, start executing, because no one remembers what you wanted to do. They only remember what you did. This is the first law of power. Stop asking for permission. Start becoming the thing they fear. If you're done living inside your own excuses, comment, "I face the truth. I kill the weakness." The poison of potential. Potential is the most seductive form of self-deception. It flatters you, whispers promises of who you could be, and wraps you in comfort because you haven't failed. You just haven't started yet. But understand this. Unrealized potential is a graveyard. And most men spend their lives decorating their own tombstone, proudly listing all the things they could have been. That's not power. That's weakness, polished and paraded like a trophy. Machiavelli understood something most men still don't. Your value is measured only by what you can do, not what you say you might one day become. People invest in certainty, not hope. In performance, not personality. You think your ideas, your talent, your energy matters. Not without execution, not without discipline. You are not judged by what you carry within. You are judged by what the world can take from you. And if you've built nothing, if you've mastered nothing, if you've conquered no part of yourself, then you are just another fragile ego dressed in fake ambition. Potential becomes poison when it replaces progress. Every time you say, "I could have done that," someone else is doing it. While you daydream, they dominate. While you hesitate, they hammer. And soon, they'll be your boss, your landlord, or worse, your enemy. You want the edge. Earn it through blood, repetition, and savage self-honesty. Potential is only valuable until time exposes it. After that, it becomes a joke, a scar, a reminder that you never became what you said you would. This is where weak men die, in the space between what they think they are and what they've actually done. Kill that version of yourself before time does it for you. Stop feeding your ego empty promises and start becoming undeniable. If you're tired of being haunted by what you could have been, comment, "I bury my potential and rise with proof." Comfort is the cage. Comfort is not your reward, it's your cage. You think it's peace, but it's sedation. You've mistaken stillness for safety, when in reality, it's stagnation. A man who builds his life around comfort is already dead. He just hasn't hit the floor yet. Machiavelli wouldn't pity you. He'd exploit you. Because comfort makes you predictable. And predictable men are pawns, used, moved, sacrificed, never remembered. You can't build empires in soft beds. You can't dominate the world when your daily war is getting out of bed before 10 a.m. Look at yourself. The couch is your throne, the phone is your weapon, and your mind is cluttered with dopamine and fantasy. That's not a king. That's a prisoner, a slave in golden chains. Men who rise. They bleed before breakfast. They act without emotion. They destroy comfort before it destroys them. The predator adapts to discomfort so completely, he starts to crave it, because he knows every edge in life is earned in agony. And you run from pain like it's a threat. But pain is the key, the doorway, the furnace where power is forged. Every time you choose what's easy, what's soothing, what's fun, you lose leverage. You trade your throne for a blanket. You forfeit your edge to stay soft. And the world, it sharpens its claws while you rest. Comfort is killing you slowly, and the worst part, you're smiling while it does. You will never become powerful until your threshold for discomfort becomes higher than your hunger for pleasure. So burn the soft parts, kill the comfort, and become the kind of man who is at peace in the fire. That's where predators are born, not in warmth, but in the cold. If you're done being ruled by comfort, comment, "I burn the cage and sharpen in pain." Discipline, the currency of power. Let's stop pretending. Motivation is weak. It's a cheap thrill, a sugar high for your ambition. What you need isn't another wave of hype. What you need is discipline, unshakable, violent, cold-blooded discipline. And here's the truth they don't teach you. Discipline isn't a mindset. It's a weapon. It's not about waking up early and feeling proud. It's about doing the thing you hate when everything inside you is screaming to quit. It's about silencing the inner coward over and over until there's nothing left of him but dust. Machiavelli never romanticized effort. He respected utility. Discipline is what makes a man useful to himself and dangerous to others. The world bows to discipline, not talent, because talent without control is like a loaded gun in the hands of a child. It's unpredictable, sloppy, and usually ends in failure. But a disciplined man, he's precise, calculated, patient. And patience is the edge that carves empires from chaos. You think power is built in sprints? Power is built in routines. It's built in doing the exact same thing, when it's boring, when it's painful, when no one is watching, until you own it like a blade forged in your spine. That's where greatness is created. Not in dreams, in repetition, in consistency, in showing up when everyone else has already given up. You say you want to be elite, but can you train when no one claps? Can you grind when no one's filming? Can you execute without applause, reward, or recognition? That's discipline. That's the difference between you and the man who becomes legend. Because here's the truth. The disciplined don't chase success. They become it. They don't seek validation. They produce results. And those results speak louder than any words you could scream. If you're waiting for the right feeling to act, you've already lost. Feelings are the leash. Discipline is the knife. So cut the leash. Become the knife. Carve your identity with steel resolve. Because discipline isn't a tool, it's your identity. And until it becomes who you are, everything you want is just a hallucination. If you're ready to make discipline your identity, comment, "I become the blade. Routine is my war." Emotion is a weapon or a weakness. You were taught to trust your emotions, to express them, to let them guide you. That's exactly why you're being dominated. Emotions are not divine messages, they're chemical impulses, primitive reactions, data, and when you let them drive the car, they drive you straight into weakness. Understand this. Emotion is either a weapon in your hand or a leash around your neck. There is no middle ground. Machiavelli didn't preach morality, he preached results. And results are allergic to emotional men. Men who react, men who spiral, men who get offended, discouraged or distracted. Power doesn't care how you feel. It only cares how you move when you're broken, humiliated, or betrayed. That's where the separation happens. Between those who collapse and those who calculate. You must become the latter. Look at society. It's engineered to feed your emotions. Scroll, react, compare, complain. Dopamine, outrage, comfort, validation. You're emotionally hijacked 24/7, and you think you're thinking for yourself. No, you're being led, programmed, weaponized against yourself. Your weakness is profitable to someone, and until you realize that, you'll keep bleeding under the illusion of self-expression. That's not power, that's slavery with nice lighting. You want control? Master your emotional states, not by denying them, but by converting them. Use anger as fuel, not fire. Use jealousy as data, not despair. Use fear as a compass, not a cage. That's emotional alchemy. That's psychological warfare, and the battlefield is inside you. Every moment you allow emotion to dictate your actions, you lose leverage. And in a Machiavellian world, leverage is everything. If they can predict your reaction, they can control your fate. But if you become emotionally opaque, still, unreadable and precise, you become untouchable. You've been tricked into thinking emotional control is suppression. It's not. Suppression is weakness in disguise. Control is dominance, discipline, ownership. It's the ability to sit with the storm and remain unmoved. That's where cold power lives. In the space between stimulus and reaction. In the silence between the insult and your execution. In the grin you wear while your enemies scream. So here's your choice. Be ruled by your impulses or become a ruler of consequence. One path leads to mediocrity, the other leads to dominance. But don't expect to feel good while taking it. This path is made of steel, not sugar. And emotion, while allowed to exist, must be kept on a leash like a wolf, unleashed only when you choose and only to destroy. If you're ready to turn your emotion into execution, comment. I silence the noise. I act like cold fire. Kill the old you. The biggest threat to your power isn't the world. It's not society. It's not your enemies. It's the version of you that refuses to die. That comfortable, emotional, procrastinating, undisciplined identity you keep protecting like it's sacred. The old you, the lazy you, is the one dragging you under every time you try to rise. You want to evolve, but you're still loyal to your former self. That's like trying to run a war campaign while protecting the traitor in your camp. It doesn't work. You will always sabotage yourself until the old you is dead. Machiavelli understood that sometimes power requires sacrifice, not of others, but of self. Your past self was built in weakness, habits, survival, and fantasy. You created that identity to stay safe, not to become dangerous. And now, that version of you is the one hitting snooze. That version is the one scrolling while someone else is building. That version is the one still hoping greatness will arrive like a delivery. And you protect him because he's familiar. Because change threatens the illusion of control. But here's the truth. You don't need to feel safe. You need to become dangerous. Let's be clear. You cannot improve your way to power while dragging the corpse of your former self behind you. You cannot keep half your habits, half your lies, half your excuses, and think you'll rise. That's not evolution. That's decoration. You're not building a new self. You're duct taping confidence onto cowardice. And it shows in your posture, in your tone, in your results. You haven't gone to war with yourself yet. You've just flirted with change. The moment you decide to kill the old you, everything shifts. The cravings, the delays, the fear, they all lose power. Not because they disappear, but because you stop negotiating with them. You replace identity with action. You stop saying, I'm trying, and start saying, I am. You stop relating to your past and start behaving like your future already exists. That's the shift. That's when the world starts to respond differently, because you're no longer sending mixed signals. You've declared war, and you're winning. But here's the cost. Comfort dies with the old you. So does validation. So does fake confidence. But what rises in its place? Precision, strength, command presence, a self that doesn't beg to be liked, but demands to be respected through sheer inevitability. People will say you've changed. Good, that's the goal. If they're still comfortable around you, you haven't gone deep enough. So make the decision, set fire to the stories, burn the version of you that keeps failing, and from the ashes, build the one they never saw coming. If you're ready to end your loyalty to your weakness, comment, "I bury the old me and lead with fire." Leverage or be leveraged. In the real world, words don't move mountains. Leverage does. Status, strength, money, skill, discipline, access. These are the real currencies of control. Without them, you're just noise, easily ignored, quick to replace. You can be the most talented, kind, or ambitious person in the room, but if you bring nothing the room values, you are invisible. Power isn't about potential, it's about possession. What do you control that others want? What can you do that others can't? What threat can you enforce if someone crosses you? Machiavelli never trusted good intentions. He trusted outcomes, and behind every outcome is a force, a weight of consequence. That weight is leverage. It's why kings weren't just born. They stayed kings by owning the things others feared or needed. And in the modern world, that hasn't changed. Leverage is everything. It's what separates men who negotiate from men who dictate. If you don't have it, you'll spend your life begging in subtle ways, begging for attention, for approval, for opportunity. But if you build it, you walk into every room like gravity. So how do you build leverage? Become irreplaceable. Develop skills so elite, so brutal in their effectiveness, that removing you becomes a cost no one wants to pay. Speak with clarity so sharp, it cuts through noise. Move with discipline so refined, it humbles the undisciplined. Earn capital, not just financial, but social, psychological, strategic. Leverage isn't loud, it's silent pressure. It's the subtle shift in a room when you speak. It's the invisible power of knowing you don't need anyone, but others need you. Weak men hate leverage because it requires sacrifice, time, and patience. You must build when no one's clapping. You must become a fortress, structured, layered, impenetrable. But once you do, the game changes. You stop chasing, you start choosing, you stop begging, you start controlling. And here's the truth that burns. The man with leverage doesn't need to be liked. He plays the long game. He dictates the terms. He gets to say no, and the world adjusts. Without leverage, your ambition is decoration. You'll talk big, but move small. You'll dream loud, but live quietly. You'll keep wondering why no one listens, because you never became necessary. And in a Machiavellian world, if you're not necessary, you're disposable. So build in silence. Stack your value like a loaded arsenal, because one day the world will ask who you are, and your leverage will answer for you. If you're done being replaceable, comment, "I build silent leverage. My value speaks before I do." The balance myth. Why obsession wins. They told you to find balance. Work-life balance, mental health balance, social balance. Keep everything tidy, clean, manageable. But here's the truth. Balance is a myth. They feed to men they want to keep average. Balance is sold as wisdom, but at its core, it's a psychological sedative, a leash, and you've swallowed it. Look around you. Are the ones who dominate balanced? Is the killer in the ring balanced? Is the empire builder balanced? No. They're obsessed, focused, engineered around one thing: control. They don't chase balance. They chase results. And once those results are undeniable, then maybe they allow themselves rest. But make no mistake, power is not born in equilibrium. It's born in imbalance, strategic, disciplined, brutal imbalance. Machiavelli would never advise balance. He'd laugh at the idea. He'd tell you to study the lion, not the sheep. To pick your target and tear into it with such calculated violence that the world has no choice but to move. That's how power is earned. Not by walking the middle path, but by bleeding on the one no one else is willing to crawl through. You want mastery? It demands obsession. You want freedom? It demands sacrifice, not just once, but over and over, long after the motivation dies, long after others quit. You cannot balance your way to becoming a weapon. You must let go of the parts of your life that anchor you to weakness. Dead friendships, fake obligations, lazy routines, pointless distractions. You don't need more harmony. You need more war. And I get it. People will say you're too intense, too focused, that you're losing yourself. Good. That means you're on the right path, because the self they're trying to protect is the soft version of you that never did anything. The truth is, you're not losing yourself. You're killing the version of you that was never built to win. And in its place, you're constructing something lean, lethal, and legendary. This world doesn't reward the balanced. It rewards the unrelenting, the obsessed, the ones who look unhinged from the outside, but internally are more aligned than anyone else. The world doesn't belong to the reasonable. It belongs to the extreme. The unreasonable man bends the world to his will, not because he has more talent, but because he has more fire, more aim, more grit. But don't confuse obsession with chaos. This isn't reckless. This isn't burnout. This is focused destruction, tactical immersion, the art of becoming so immersed in your purpose that distractions feel like betrayal. And they are, because every second you give to mediocrity is a second stolen from your legacy. So stop listening to the ones who preach balance while living forgettable lives. Stop splitting your energy in 1,000 directions and then wondering why nothing moves. Focus like a weapon, move like a machine, structure your life like a war campaign, and cut everything that doesn't move the mission forward. Family, friends, comfort, opinions, distractions, everything is either fuel or friction. You don't owe anyone your balance. You owe yourself your evolution, and no one gets to the top without letting go of the middle. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop defending your fire. Let them call it obsession, because one day they'll call it legacy. If you're ready to sacrifice balance for domination, comment, "I choose obsession. Balance is for the forgotten." Kill your addiction to validation. You want to know why you feel stuck, why you move but never truly rise? Because every move you make is a performance. You're not building, you're auditioning, hoping someone claps, hoping someone approves, hoping the world validates your path, your pace, your presence. But here's the bitter truth. As long as you need their approval, you are their property. Validation is the currency of the weak, and it's expensive. It costs you your instincts, your edge, your independence. Machiavelli would spit on your desire to be liked. He didn't write for people who wanted to be accepted. He wrote for people who wanted to rule, people who knew that to be truly powerful, you must become immune to public opinion and feared for it. Look at your habits. Every time you post online, are you sharing truth or fishing for affirmation? Every time you talk, are you leading or just trying to sound smart? Every time you choose a path, is it yours or is it just what's acceptable, digestible, safe? The need to be liked is the invisible chain that keeps men average. It turns lions into house cats. It turns warriors into influencers. And it turns your life into a highlight reel of nothing. There is no legacy in validation. The ones we remember because they didn't beg to be accepted. They forced the world to adjust to their presence. They said what others feared to say. They did what others were afraid to do, and the world responded. Maybe not with love, but with respect. And when you're building power, respect is worth more than love. Love is emotional, respect is structural. You don't need more compliments. You need more silence. You don't need louder applause. You need quieter precision. Real confidence is forged when no one's watching, when you're stacking skills in darkness, when you're building discipline in isolation, when you move like a shadow, not a showman. That's what terrifies people. A man who doesn't need anything from them. A man who isn't swayed by opinion, only driven by vision. Here's how you kill the addiction. Stop broadcasting your growth. Start hoarding it like a weapon. Stop explaining your path. Start executing it so relentlessly that no one dares question it. Stop asking for feedback from people who've done nothing. Start building in silence and let the results scream. The strongest men don't ask to be seen. They move in a way that forces recognition or silence. And here's a rule few can stomach. If you're doing it for applause, you'll quit when they're silent. But if you're doing it for dominance, nothing can stop you. The real ones don't post quotes, they write them in blood. They don't need claps, they bring consequence. They don't look for seats at tables, they build fortresses and let others beg for the key. You want to be untouchable. Build yourself in such a way that applause becomes irrelevant, that opinion becomes background noise, that your self-respect is louder than their approval, that your standard becomes law, not because they accepted it, but because you enforced it. So stop posting and start preparing. Stop begging and start building. Kill your addiction to validation, because as long as you need it, you're already losing. If you're ready to stop performing and start commanding, comment, "I reject applause. I rise without permission." Become untouchable. You've heard everything. Now it's time to decide who you are, not who you pretend to be, not who you plan to become, who you choose to be right now, because everything until now has been noise if it doesn't end in this transformation. And not the slow, gentle kind, the brutal kind, the kind that kills your former self and burns the pieces so cleanly no part of him survives. Becoming untouchable isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming dangerous in the right direction. Cold, calm, calculated, not heartless, but hardened, not cruel, but controlled. The world won't hand you power. It will test you, mock you, seduce you with comfort, and drown you in delay. And if you're still emotionally entangled with the parts of yourself that need to be liked, coddled, or saved, you'll fall like everyone else. Untouchable men walk alone, not because they hate the world, but because they've stopped needing it. Machiavelli's prince didn't survive by kindness. He survived by understanding the game, how it's played, how people move, what makes them bend, and when to strike. Untouchable men aren't desperate. They aren't loud. They are immovable. They don't seek peace. They carry it inside themselves like a storm waiting to be summoned. Their worth is self-issued, their standard is self-enforced, and their power non-negotiable. This is the final truth. You either master your mind, or you are a slave to it. You either own your story, or you're trapped inside the lie. You either build structure around your soul, or the world builds one for you and locks the doors. The ones who win don't get there by accident. They architect their dominance. Their habits are forged like weapons. Their mornings are battlefields. Their minds are silent and sharp. While everyone else waits for the moment, they become it. So what now? You go dark. You go cold. You go disciplined. You stop explaining. You start executing. You outlast them in silence and destroy them in precision. You become the version of yourself that no one thought you could be, because you burned the version that waited for permission. They don't have to believe in you. Let them doubt. Let them gossip. Let them sleep. You won't. You'll rise while they rot. You'll move while they scroll. And one day, when they look up, you'll be unrecognizable, untouchable. If you're ready to disappear from weakness and return as power, comment, "I vanish from who I was. I rise as what they fear." And if this struck something inside you, if it exposed your excuses, your patterns, your softness, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This is Psygorithm. And we're not here to motivate, we're here to rebuild monsters.